Due to the graphic nature of this program, viewer discretion is advised.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the Open Door Policy. It is Saturday, and we are doing an impromptu episode. There's an Arctic blast out there. There's nothing better to do, and who wants to go outside and shovel snow? Sit here and hang out with us. So, with further ado, really nothing planned, but it is me and Bren doing another debrief episode. So, that being said, Brennan, how are you, sir?
I am well, buddy. I am well. It's a lovely fucking cold Saturday here in Nova Scotia. God, we're getting hit. We're getting
Nova Scotia weather here.
Yeah. Getting the wind too, are you?
Wind, dude. My internal. That's why I'm wearing this stupid scarf thing. It's like minus 50 in my house with the fucking heat going right now. Like, I gotta call somebody. It's never been this cold down here. Not since I was a kid, at least. At least 25 years. It's what's it sitting at right now here in Ontario? Let me just give you an idea.
You're minus 50 in your home at the
moment? Not minus 50. It's 50 degrees.
Oh, okay.
It's minus 16 right now.
Okay.
Without the wind chill. With the wind chill, we're in the minus 20s.
We need to figure out heating in your house.
Yeah, definitely.
We got to figure it all out. So, yeah, let's have a conversation about what's been going on in the last couple episodes. A little bit of debrief, and then we can get through a little bit. Like, there's been so much going on with like current events and geopolitics and stuff like that. We can touch a little bit on that. The Davos speeches. What is going on with all that?
Yeah, that conversation we had the other day, I think we did that one day too early because wow.
There
After
has
that conversation with Ajax, and then the conversation with the Prime Minister the next day, was like, oh man.
It has been I'm in loss of words. And and I know in the community, in the veteran community and stuff like that, we're all sitting here kind of just going like, what the hell is going on? And I know like a lot of people are oblivious to it, like they just kind of move on with their days and they don't really think about geopolitics. They don't think about anything like that. It's just day-to-day stuff. Where it really affects us, like me personally. Geopolitics has always been an interest. It's always been something that is like, oh my God, like we need good leaders taking control of situations. And that is done with communication. And we have witnessed in the last week, some really, really, really fucking up and down communication. And
it's a big wake up, man. Who'd have thought that silver would hit $100?
Is that where silver's at $100 now?
$100. When I was looking at it, it was $22 an ounce. Now $100 an ounce. I think gold hit 5K.
Gold's at 5, silver's at $100. What's bronze and copper at?
They did go up.
Yeah,
some of those metals did go up. Copper's actually on the rise again.
That's incredible. Yeah, they're going to need it. Which, when you look at like all the mineral rights and all the trade deals that are happening right now, like a lot of mineral rights and mining and then looking into like all that. So,
that just means all your tech devices too are going to go up, right? People seem to forget that a lot of these devices are made with gold, and they've actually found out that silver is more conductive than gold. So they're going to start utilizing silver as opposed to gold within these devices. So that's going to be a huge industry as well.
Huge. interesting times. We got to admit that, like, they're like, whether it's like prophecy or alien invasion or distraction or Epstein files, when are they coming out? When are we expecting them? Right? He's losing that whole the party is losing a lot of respect from its like core followers over the Epstein files.
Well, and that's how it should be. Everybody should be going, why are we not prosecuting pedophiles? Why do we care about all of this other crap in the world? If there's somebody in our politics who's hurting kids, why are we going through a judicial process? Let's get them out now and figure it out later. Like, that's how it should be. But no, we're not doing that, which tells me they're protecting each other, which, they were so diehard to get him out before. All of Congress is so diehard. And then the Epstein files comes out and now it's crickets, right? Because he's got his thumb on, somebody's got thumbs on somebody, because everyone right now is banking on the midterms. If he loses Congress in the midterms, then he's going to, if he loses Congress in the midterms, the idea is that they're gonna impeach him. Well, cool, another dog and pony show. What is impeachment going to do? It took 2 years to impeach him last time, and by the time it's all rectified, he'll be out of office anyhow with no second term. So what does it all matter? It's parlor tricks. It's all fake shit.
Yeah, it slows down. It slows down government completely, and that's the benefit on the whole circus that we're currently witnessing on the global superpower up to this point.
Yep.
Up to this point, unfortunately, and I thought I would not see it in my lifetime. I thought it would have been a little bit more, strategic in a way where, there's checks and balances in place with really smart people. But like, unfortunately, what we see is greed overtaking, power overtaking, like that kind of approach, opposed to diplomacy, opposed to checks and balances to keep that thing afloat. Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. Whether
historically, when has it been different though? Historically, when has it ever been different? Right? Power corrupts absolute. Right? That's always been like the key phrase that goes on. And when you're dealing with on the world stage, and here's another thing people don't even realize: when you're dealing with countries that, whether they're dictatorships or not, somebody who's been in presidential power for 20 years versus every 4 years we put somebody new in, like, who's the real politician anyways? These career ones who are running their countries, or is it the figurehead that we put out in front and their cabinet of career politicians? Like, who's the real politician here? Like, who's really running the show? And I think we're starting to see, and people starting to wake up to that fact that it's almost like a reality TV show as opposed to a politics at this point.
100%. 100%. It's weird. It's weird. It's a warp zone.
Definitely Twilight Zone.
It is a Twilight Zone. And like, I can't. Have you it's weird. Have you seen the White House like their website and stuff, like how they distribute all the like merchandise and stuff, like like an AI Trump would be sending you a message if you donate $25, and then that message will come to you, and then it would be like, oh, I've been thinking about you and all that stuff, and then you donate another $47 because he's the 47th president. You get 2 or 3 more messages and whatnot. Like, I just,
for what? For what? Essentially a DFT to say hello to you. I can go on Kling AI right now and make a Trump to say I love you too. Like, people are paying for this shit. Like,
people are
but that being said, I don't know if you're
believing
that's the thing. I don't know if you're a gamer or not, but like, if you look at any video game now that comes out, they're either free or close to free. And everyone's like, well, how are they profiting? And it's all based on microtransactions, right? Oh, buy this skin, buy this gun, do this, buy these little things that add up over time. That's essentially what's happening here too, right? It just buy this, buy this. We'll just take the money, put it in our coffers, right? Look at Turning Point USA. That is a prime example of what you just said. It was supposed to be a movement, and then it became a political pawn, and now it's just it's almost like it's a siphon for money for the Conservative Party. Is what Charlie Kirk's business has essentially become. And if you look at that, like, I don't know about you, but in my career, I've never seen a grieving widow pretty much go off like a rock star within a month of their husband being dead. And that's just proof to me that this is all a charade.
Yeah, that behavior's wild. It doesn't line
and everyone
up.
says everyone grieves differently. Fuck off. Everyone grieves differently. Like, that is not the behavior of a grieving widow, period.
No, we've all witnessed it, and I'm not one to judge, but my instincts are up. My little hairs on my neck are freaking raised during these times, definitely. And yeah, man, like, I think it's ever going to get to a point of like crazy? No, it's already past crazy. But will it ever get to crazy? No, I really don't think so. There's a lot of
I'm sure the Bolsheviks thought about that too, and they thought it would never happen there, right?
Well, you know what? Like, you're not wrong. And I am an optimistic thinking on it, right? You know, Elon Musk said it, and there's not much that I would quote on Elon, but there's one quote that he did say at Davos, and he was like, "You're better to think optimistically and have it go bad, opposed to be a pessimist and have it go bad."
Well,
so,
but the thing is too, you have to have realistic thinking too, right? Like, sure,
yeah,
optimism has its place, but if we forget history and start believing it can never happen to us again, it will happen to us again. That's the problem. Because look at when France fell. They know they are afraid of the people. Make no mistake that they don't think they aren't. Look what happened to Marie Antoinette and the French royalty and the aristocrats then. They cut their heads off like nothing. Bolshevik Revolution, same thing. In Russia. That's what the elites are afraid of, is just the people taking back their power. And unfortunately, you know, like, sometimes it can go the completely other way, and then we can have, you know, little mustache men running around and, you know, doing it the opposite of what the Bolsheviks did. Like, we're in a very, very scary place right now. And I'm not afraid of Chinese soldiers coming across. Like, they don't have the logistical supply line to do it. I'm not worried about any of that. Like, what I am worried about is the people here. If you put enough pressure on, we've seen what people are. You worked on the job. I've worked in the jails. I've seen when people are at their breaking points, and I hear it today from still people I know who still work in the prison systems. People are at a point where it's just going to break if nothing gets better. But we're pitting each other against ourselves, right? So like, look what happened during COVID over the toilet paper. How crazy that nonsense went over toilet paper. You don't think people are the problem? I'm more worried about the neighbor down the street who didn't buy enough food before the grocery store ran out. That's what people need to be worried about, not the army coming in and black bagging you.
No.
And if it gets to that point, what is the way to prevent it from getting to that point where people like that? Is it going to be the 1984 system where we have drones flying up the streets telling you to stay in your house after 10 o'clock? Because that looks like what the future could be. We have a civil defense force here in Canada being stood up that it's like 3 times larger than our current military. And they want to have civilians flying drones and training on guns. And they think 5 years or 5 days a year is enough training to get them to be operationally ready for whatever. That's just a dog and pony show. Because I'll tell you right now, if there's that many people, it's not going to be 5 days out of the year, and is definitely going to be stood up a lot more than you think it is. Because we don't, even with our reserves, we don't have the numbers for it.
It's a start. It's a start. It's a start. It's a seed, It's a seed to put in to the public that this is happening. And yeah, you're right. In 10 years from now, it's going to expand. It's going to expand even more. And we've talked about shifting the workforce, because AI is coming in, robotics are coming in, a lot of jobs are going to be changed, right? Like, we're not in the old industrial ways anymore, working in factories. So they're going to have positions for a lot of people to have income, to make income work.
Well, that's the thing. We're going to have to redefine what is work, number one, like what is work. And then number two, what is worth. It's going to come down to what is worth. And that's where it gets
Purpose and
scary.
worth. Yeah,
That's
purpose
going
and
to be
worth.
scary, because broadcasters, podcasters, everything we're doing right now, like we could be AI right now, and nobody would really know in like 2 years. Like written, like print is dead. It's 100%. Everyone's getting AI to do it. They're teaching kids in school, and the teachers are running with AI. People are plagiarizing with AI. Like we are at a pinnacle point of idiocracy, where like you said before, like authenticity is going to be what's key. The authentic people are going to be the ones who do the work, know the stuff, and can defend an argument. Whereas now everyone's getting lazy. Convenience has gotten to the point where it's the detriment of society.
Yeah.
And that's what we're seeing. And the problem is, when it comes down to the worth, that's when you get into that scary idea of people being able to other people, right? Because if you have nothing to offer, then why you become a useless breather, and then so on. And so then the cycle begins again. And that's where people are gonna, when I tell people, I'm like, find what your thing is. Don't worry about society, because that's when authenticity takes over, that's going to be what's important. That's going to be the true currency. But at the same time, we are going to find out who the layabouts are, and the people who don't contribute, or I hate to say it, they're like the lazy people of society, like the truly lazy, not the sick, not the enabled. The true scammers of the world will be exposed.
Yeah,
that's a good thing. But
yeah,
where do we sit philosophically on the moral high ground with this stuff right now? This is a brave new world. We don't know. It's the wild west of
the brave new world
philosophy.
It really truly is. And it's like, what kind of foundation are we going to have as a country to build off?
Even if we are a country in 10, 20 years, right? I that channel I told you about, What If Alt History, he's a historian. He did a video 3 years ago, and he broke down how Canada probably wouldn't be Canada, and here we are 3 years later, and Canada's getting a huge shakeup. He called Greenland, and I'm seeing it now, looking back at that video, going, how the fuck did he know that? Is he patterning the same way we're patterning? Because some people are seeing these things, and when you go back and see the videos, because that's what you have to do, because that's your evidence, you go, wow, was it really that obvious? And yet here we are.
Yeah, and here we are, man. Like, it's there's so many different ways that this can go. So many different ways this can go. And I know for myself, it's just been it's been every day. I just been kind of patterning and like looking at geopolitics and seeing where the money flows, and technology coming in, and then the new industrial revolution coming in, and cryptos and AI and robotics, and man, energy. It's just such a hot commodity right now. And it's like, where do we as a people want to align with, because there will be turmoil. There already is. It's already collapsing. The old systems are collapsing quick. So
yep.
Do you want me? You want to start off with this, and
yeah,
or do you want?
You wanted to bring this up, I guess. Let's just play it, and let's see what your thoughts are. I haven't seen this, or no, I did. I saw clips of this. Is this the full thing?
You're right. Yeah. No, this is the okay. So this is just it's not the full thing. The president, he spoke for an hour and about 40 minutes.
He loves to
And
talk, that guy.
and none of it was really aligned with you know. Anyways, you can make your own opinion. We can all just kind of see what we see, what we're witnessing here. This is history, in my opinion. This is the president of the United States speaking.
Well, thank you very much, Larry. It's great to be back in beautiful Davos, Switzerland, and to address so many respected business leaders, so many friends, few enemies. Certain places in Europe are not even recognizable, frankly, anymore. They're not recognizable. And we can argue about it, but there's no argument. Friends come back from different places. I don't want to insult anybody and say I don't recognize it. And that's not in a positive way. That's in a very negative way. And I love Europe, and I want to see Europe go good, but it's not heading in the right direction. This enormous unsecured island is actually part of North America, on the northern frontier of the Western Hemisphere. That's our territory. It is therefore a core national security interest of the United States of America. And in fact, it's been our policy for hundreds of years to prevent outside threats from entering our hemisphere, and we've done it very successfully. We've never been stronger than we are now. That's why American presidents have sought to purchase Greenland. It's the United States alone that can protect this giant mass of land, this giant piece of ice, develop it and improve it and make it so that it's good for Europe and safe for Europe and good for us. And that's the reason I'm seeking immediate negotiations to once again discuss the acquisition of Greenland by the United States, just as we have acquired many other territories throughout our history, as many of the European nations have. They've acquired. There's nothing wrong with it. We probably won't get anything unless I decide to use excessive strength and force where we would be, frankly, unstoppable. But I won't do that. Okay, now everyone's saying, oh, good. That's probably the biggest statement I made, because people thought I would use force. I don't have to use force. I don't want to use force. I won't use force. But the problem with NATO is that we'll be there for them 100%. But I'm not sure that they'd be there for us. If we gave them the call, gentlemen, we are being attacked. We're under attack by such and such a nation. I know them all very well. I'm not sure that they'd be there. I know we'd be there for them. I don't know that they'd be there for us. We're building a golden dome that's going to, just by its very nature, going to be defending Canada. Canada gets a lot of freebies from us, by the way. They should be grateful also, but they're not. I watched your Prime Minister yesterday. He wasn't so grateful. But they should be grateful to us. Well, thank you very much, Larry. It's great to be back in beautiful Davos, Switzerland, and to address so many respected business.
Wow. Okay, so.
Okay, he's right and he's wrong in the same fucking breath.
Right, and the thing is, it's like there's a lot to. That's been kind of like the jump around with a lot of things, with our American friends.
Well, the whole I
I
just saw an interview with I don't know if it was CBC or whatever. It was one of the reservists down here in Windsor who went to Afghanistan, and they interviewed him about that exact topic, and he's like, when were we not in the front lines with you? Like, are you fucking retarded? Like, we don't contribute. Like, but within the same breath, he's like, but we'll defend them. I'm like, of course you would, as would everybody under NATO, under the Article 5. Attack against one is attack on all. Like, what are you talking about? It's just,
know.
But that's the thing. Like, he knows that
rage,
the general
rage.
population.
It's rage. rage
That's
bait.
exactly it. That's exactly it. He knows the general population doesn't have a fucking clue what non-Article 5 versus Article 5 is. Like
No.
most of the stuff, most of the people don't even care. Like you had said, they're just kind of, I'm too busy getting to work and making a paycheck. I don't care. I'll read a headline and I'll get mad. We'll have our 2 minutes of hate, and then that's it. And it's just a surface level conversation that nobody digs into. And that's where we get our division from. And the shit that the more he does that, the more he's just gonna stir up the fucking people in the know versus the people who aren't in the know, and it's just gonna create more and more fucking bullshit.
Yeah, you're not wrong, and it's a vortex, man. Like, what's your opinion on his health there?
My
His
opinion is he's
mental.
a fucking senior citizen who should have retired 20 fucking years ago. And the United States system, like any political system, should have a cap, like any federal job, at
Yeah.
60, and you're out. That's it. We are forced retired at 60 years old, but yet we can keep these fucking people who are in cognitive decline or megalomania, or it doesn't even have to be that. They could be, you know what, going, I'm almost dead and I'm in charge of the world. I'm going to do carte blanche. It could be as simple as that. We need checks and balances. People need term limits, and I'm talking cabinets. I'm talking both sides of the aisle. Everything. You don't stay in, get a pension for the rest of your life, and fuck off. No, you do your 4 years, your civil service, and you're gone. Go write a book somewhere. Go make your money. I'm sick and tired of seeing these pricks going in there being millionaires coming out.
Yeah.
There's nothing being done. There's nothing being done. It's all my full opinion on this is it's just there's no checks and balances when they say there are. We have a government full of bureaucracy who aren't doing their bureaucratic job. They're just creating more loopholes.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, 100%. And it's like, who's pulling the strings in the background? I don't know.
Well, and that's why people believe that the Illuminati exists. That's why people believe the Illuminati exists, because like I said, if you have somebody who's in there for 4 years at a time or 8 years maximum, who's the one in charge of them? Who is the one that has the paperwork that says the president doesn't have a need to know? Like, that tells me that there is a government within a government, which is scarily enough almost confirms that what the QAnon people were saying is the deep state. Like it's crazy. And then if it's not that, then are all these countries subservient to, like you said, the WEF? Is the WEF really the one in power? I don't know. Like I don't know, but nobody's doing the paperwork. How can we block investigations? How can we send out Epstein files and everything is completely redacted and there's been no arrest? How can Ghislaine Maxwell sit in jail for human sex trafficking? To who? To who? To who did she traffic to? Because if there are no clients, then there was no crime. Right?
Yeah.
It's all controlled. I firmly believe that the Epstein list is tied to everything that's going on right now in the United States. With all of the backdoor shit, their Israel nonsense, all of that crap, that is all somehow controlled, tied to the Epstein list as a honeypot. We know he was a spy. And the WEF stuff, I don't even know how that ties into it, unless you look at the craziest thing and go, they're all in on it. I don't know. Like we were saying, this is the Twilight Zone. Well, here it is. Here's the Twilight Zone. We know we have criminals in power. We know that they're turning stuff against people. They know they're not for the people. So what are we to do? What are we to do? Like nobody has answers. It's either that one conspiracy theory after another being confirmed, and nobody cares, and they just go, how can it get any worse? And then it's almost like you said, you're boiling a frog in a pot. By the time it's on fire, it's too late. I've heard veterans say this many times. When do we stand up? I'm like, well, what do you mean? When do we stand up? You mean when you take up arms? I don't know. I don't know.
Like, I don't think
everything seems like a beta test and of tolerance testing people. I don't know.
Oh, 100%. 100% it's a tolerance test. And it's it's difficult difficult to navigate, trying to find what kind of normalcy is anymore. It is it's challenging. From what I witnessed on that is, one, a decline in mental capacity. Like, there's obviously some sort of mental decline. He made mistakes a few times with, like, referring to Greenland to Iceland. Like, all the some of the words that he was coming out was like slurring and getting soft. And
yeah, but you know what? As a speaker, we still do that. I misspeak a lot too, right? I don't pick pepper out of fly shit when it comes to stuff like that. I look at decisions that are being made, right? Like, and again, we don't know who's making the decisions, right? Like, where are the generals? Like, we both know this. There has to be some general that hands them a file and go, here's options 1, 2, and 3. Which one do you want, sir? Like, somebody's got to be like nudging them for these things. Like there has to be an economic advisor saying, hey, if you do this, the stock market's going to do that. Like, somebody has to be telling them these things. There's like, I couldn't just.
Do you think he listens though?
Well, to be devil's advocate for Trump, I can't just sit there and say that he says to do this blindly. I don't think that's what he's doing. There's no way, because that's not how business works. Right. But at the same time, right, like, we've seen it, right? I'm gonna go like put the grinds to Russia. I'm gonna go put the grinds to Xi, and they all meet each other. They all shake hands. We have photos of them all together. We know they're probably laughing in the back room, but yet now we're at borderline going to war with these countries. But yet you can go and have like laughs with them later on. Like, it just, like, dude, I honestly think it's just the world's a giant chessboard at this point, and this is how they control us. Like, it makes no sense. Absolutely none of this makes any sense anymore. And the fact that they gave us the internet to have these discussions, and now the cat's out of the bag, now they want to censor it and take it all away from us again. Like, I don't understand the ebbs and flows of what's going on right now. Like, again, like, the more you read, like, 1984 seems to be true. And the people I've talked to in regards to some of these things that are happening in the world, it's like Minneapolis turning into a war zone, the George Floyd stuff turning into a war zone, the ding ding, like, it all just seems like it's beta testing for what's set to happen. Like, how people are almost to the point where we want track and trace. Do you know what I mean? Like, we see all these crimes, we see all this nonsense, we see all this bullshit, the immigration stuff, to the point where it would get us to the tolerance point of going, you know what? Maybe, I will get chipped. I will go get a chip so they can follow me around, because I've got nothing to hide. So let's chip everybody. And that just seems to be how it would implement these things down the road. So I really don't. I really have no opinion, because it's at this point, it's just all deception. Like, I would tell anyone who remembers from the 90s, if they haven't seen it, to watch Wag the Dog, the Dustin Hoffman movie.
Wag the Dog. I haven't seen it.
Yeah, that's about politics. That's about politics, where they create a fake war and they stage it's all a movie. Right. And that goes into that never waste a disaster thing, right? Like, I should do a movie list of movies that people should watch. And once they start seeing these and they'll figure out where we are in the timeline. Right.
Yeah.
Like, all we're waiting for right now pretty much is Soylent Green and Fahrenheit 451. And we're like fully into 1984 at that point. Like, 3 books away, man.
3 books away.
Like, seriously, like, I don't know what to do about it. I don't know how to look at this stuff.
Do you think Davos was interesting for 2026? I watched 2025, 2024, 23. I got into the World Economic Forum actually in 2020. I didn't think about it prior to that. And the reason why I got into it was the process of understanding crypto. And 2020 was like the crypto boom, like everything just went skyrocket. Remember Dogecoin and everything like that? A lot of people made millions off of that coin.
A lot of that was pump and dump, and that's when I started to see the thievery of stuff, like the legal theft that was allowed to happen, and that's when I started to question it too. A lot after all the pump and dump schemes started going down.
Yeah, but since then, there's been so much regulation and push. And what's interesting is that when all the major players like BlackRock, Vanguard, Jamie Dimon, with the American Bank, all them flooded the crypto, flooded it hard, and then all of a sudden it switched. Now it's like now they're involved. Every single one of them.
Of course so, because if they're in on it, that means the reason crypto was created is no longer valid. The blockchain is now chained, essentially. Like the whole point of crypto was to be a blockchain and not have regulation and all of these things, but
decentralized. Yeah,
exactly. But because the corruption, people see how corrupt it is, they realize that a system needs to be in place. So like a blockchain, again, like communism sounds like a great idea, but you need regulations because shitbags be shitbagging. Like you're never going to stop that unless you put the shitbags away. And that's why like the Davos thing with Larry Fink, right? There he is, another one, right? The BlackRock's man himself. With he's always getting himself into shit. Everyone knows what's going on with him. Like they put those regulations in where they were no longer to buy like private housing and rent them out. Like all of these what people would have called the New World Order stuff are starting to get the blocks put in place because they forced themselves to be regulated. Because without regulation, you have the Wild West, and then that's the thing people don't think about. We need to sit down and have a philosophy or a moral class about this stuff and go, what are the cost benefit analysis?
Yeah. And I believe that there's a lot of discussion and that is being created right now. There's a lot of since 2020, definitely since all that, like there has been a lot of discussion about philosophy, about like how to use it correctly and whatnot, like how to move forward. I for myself, I use it as a investment. And that's not my personal I'm not giving any suggestions on investing or whatnot, like absolutely not. But when you get so many years of regulation, and then you get people in huge, like BlackRock is worth like what, 18 trillion man, of assets. And
like, what does that even mean? What does that even mean at that level? Like, money's not real at that point. Like the national debt, what does that even mean? It just means power. It just means power. It doesn't mean money. It just means power at that point. And then what do you do with it? What do you do with it?
Yeah, exactly.
Like what is the point? Like you're gonna buy the planet. Let's just theoretically put out here's a philosophy thing right here. If you have all that money in the world and you buy the planet, right? Who do you owe money to at that point? To yourself? Like, it makes no inherent sense if you have all of it. It becomes just about control and power.
Yeah,
that's literally what it comes down to, because money doesn't matter.
Yeah,
and there's a thought
influence,
process on
influence, control, power, influence, and
to essentially
purpose.
Become God, right? To essentially become God on earth, and then what? And then what happens when you become a god and have power? You become depressed. Because if you think about it, it's literally these people who are that crazy to go up in time, up to where they're at in politics. It's hedonism at the most extreme. It's hedonism. They're looking for the next thrill, the next thing, the next whatever. And that's why a lot of them get stuck up in these little kiddie rings, right? Because they've they've reached a point of power where they're like, what's the greatest thrill I could have, or what's the worst thing I can do to get away with? Because they're chasing that control, they're chasing that I can get away with things, and then it brings them to this level. It all ends up pointing towards that at the end. When you have that sense of power, because in all of history, that's what it comes down to. Everyone in history had that.
Yeah, you're not
Like
wrong.
you look at Caligula with the orgy parties and
Mm,
like everything goes back to a debauchery level because it becomes hedonism, because you get bored. Once you have enough power and you can usurp your power, you eventually never become bored, because what is the next thing? What is there to chase? You've done it all. You've peaked in a sense, right?
you certainly get to a point, and it's like there's little room for expansion. So it's
Yep.
like, and essentially, I think that's where the United States is at, and they're being challenged immensely with the BRICS nations coming in. They're de-dollarizing themselves, and that is like, I think they're at I don't have the exact number, but I think they're close to like 25 nations right now that are de-dollarizing.
Well, we have to remember, before World War II, like the United States was essentially an isolationist country anyways. They weren't even big on the world. They were keeping to themselves, doing their own thing. And then after World War II, like during World War II, they wouldn't even enter the war for the longest of times after being asked for help, right?
Yeah.
Unless deals were made, and deals were made in the background, right? Like, okay, we'll support these boats if you give us that technology. If you give us that weapon system, we'll do this, that, and that's all. That's how a lot of it happened. And then Japan came in and they go, oh, there's our excuse, right? And again, that's how war works. And if the United States is going back to being an isolationist state, I don't know what that looks like. I have no idea what that looks like at all. But the problem, if they do that and alienate themselves from the world, they're landlocked. They're landlocked resource-wise, right? Because as we're finding more places, like Canada's got more resources than I think Africa in the shield and stuff. Like a lot of these other countries have all the stuff that the United States has built itself on, and they can't get it without fair trade, right? So what happens when you get somebody locked in? Eventually they're going to go take it for themselves, because we're in the world of where expansionism no longer exists. But expansionism's always been the thing. That's what wars have always been about. So eventually, if diplomacy fails, what's the next step?
Expansionism.
We're gonna take your shit.
Yeah, we're
And
gonna
that's
take
just how
your
the world
shit.
works. It's nothing new. People think,
No.
and that's that people go, it could never happen here. It did 300
And it
years
will.
ago.
And it
Ask
could.
the natives.
Yeah.
It's happened.
Yeah, you're not wrong. And right now, it's like it's at that point where it's like a mindset, and it's like, do you do it through diplomacy, or do you do it through expansionism? Right? Like,
And it will be the same. It'll be the same even if, let's just say, the United States did decide to go kinetic. Let's just put that scenario out there. Let's just say they just decided to invade Canada. Okay. It's going to be like it was during the Revolutionary War. There's going to be people who refuse to fight their own countrymen, because I look at Americans, and a lot of Americans look at us as countrymen at the end of the day.
100%.
So a lot of them are just going to go, I'm not doing this. And the ones who do stay and stand up, they're going to be called, like we had up here, the loyalists or the patriots. And they're going to be the ones that fight anyways, because America, Canada, Canada. Most of the people don't want this shit.
No.
Right. And that's how you'll end up having militias or people switching sides, or Canadians fighting for the Americans and vice versa.
It's going to be a border.
That's what'll happen.
It's going to be a border war for sure. And what's going to end up happening about it, right? Like, and it's
and either way, that means your economy's fucking crippled if that were to happen. So what was it for?
Either way, either way, it's not a good scene. I don't.
The reason the Americans' economy isn't crippled yet, the reason they can have fucking forever wars, is because the petrodollar, and they have like so much, like 32 trillion in debt, like that doesn't even matter to them anymore. They don't care. They're willing to take on that Canada wouldn't be willing to take on $30 trillion in debt for nonsense.
No,
People wouldn't allow it.
Yeah, no. I read an interesting article about like the quarter three U.S. GDP is at 4.4, which is great. Like the gross domestic production is at 4.4. Canada, in reference, I think we were at 0.6, right? During the quarter. And then when you look at it, though, you read deeper, the United States GDP is only at 4.4. Majority is through consumerism.
Exactly.
Right? Like what they do is it's a lot of purchasing, of purchasing power. Not so much. It's not like. So when you look at the average American, and same with Canada, right? Like the debt is just the average household. I think it breaks down like Canadian household. The average debt is more than like 40 grand.
Yep.
Like
it's a debt-based economy. It's a debt-based economy.
There are families that are like multiple cards and credits and stuff like that they're in debt. So a GDP just on consumerism, like, and this is where I look at the administration and I'm going, okay, right. Like I do agree with like bringing back a GDP that is not just consumer based, bringing back.
Well, eventually they're going to have to monetize what we're doing across the board, because this is like you said, consumerism. This is the commodity at this point. This is how they're going to, because they'll have to pay people to YouTube to tax it to keep that cycle going of consumerism. Because once we have AI robots building shit, how are we going to tax people more? We can't. We won't be able to unless we do this. And that's where it becomes content creation is what's going to be the thing, right?
Yeah.
And that's kind of what they meant by live in the pod and eat the bugs, right? Like you're going to literally just be podcasting for additional funds, because how else can they make money? They can't.
Yeah.
If people aren't working.
So there's so many different things coming out. Like, like you ever seen like the school app and stuff, right? Like, and there's other websites, whatnot, but like the school app is interesting in the sense where like you can do anything and get monetized. So it's like YouTube, it's like YouTube doesn't monetize anything until you hit a certain level of subscriptions.
They'll be forced to. They will eventually be forced to. If this is how the economy is going to shape up for consumer-based economy, there's no other way that they couldn't. They would have to.
They would have to.
Maybe there's your UBI or your additional UBI money, right? Like
very interesting.
New thing.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Like you can go on school and be like not even a professional artist, but you're just like motivating on doing art.
But what does that do for us as a society down the road? Like that's the long-term question. What does that look like down the road? Like, do we have idiocracy? Do we have people who are just drones and idiots and know how to, click buttons on a page, or do we have critical thinking anymore? Right? Because that's dangerous to lose that. People if you look
critical
at
thinking, oh my God, we've seen that. That's been a witness right now. Like that has been on high display since 2016. When you started seeing the decline of like critical thinking, how people like literally see something on the internet and believe it right away.
No, they won't read anything. They don't ever do the research or read the books. That's why I don't use Google. That's why I have a library still. It's cult mentality.
Yeah, and that's where it becomes a little bit scary. Do you want to so we've seen what President Trump said at Davos. Do you want to get through what Carney said, Prime Minister Carney?
Let's let this one play through.
He is
every day, we're reminded that we live in an era of great power rivalry, that the rules-based order is fading, that the strong can do what they can and the weak must suffer what they must. And this aphorism of Thucydides is presented as inevitable, as the natural logic of international relations reasserting itself. And faced with this logic, there is a strong tendency for countries to go along to get along, to accommodate, to avoid trouble, to hope that compliance will buy safety. Well, it won't. So what are our options? In 1978, the Czech dissident Václav Havel, later president, wrote an essay called The Power of the Powerless. And in it, he asked a simple question: how did the communist system sustain itself? And his answer began with the greengrocer. Every morning, the shopkeeper places a sign in his window: "Workers of the world unite." He doesn't believe it. No one does. But he places the sign anyway to avoid trouble, to signal compliance, to get along. And because every shopkeeper on every street does the same, the system persists. Not through violence alone, but through the participation of ordinary people in rituals they privately know to be false. Havel called this living within a lie. The system's power comes not from its truth, but from everyone's willingness to perform as if it were true. And its fragility comes from the same source. When even one person stops performing, when the greengrocer removes his sign, the illusion begins to crack. Friends, it is time for companies and countries to take their signs down. For decades, countries like Canada prospered under what we call the rules-based international order. We joined its institutions, we praised its principles, we benefited from its predictability. And because of that, we could pursue values-based foreign policies under its protection. We knew the story of the international rules-based order was partially false, that the strongest would exempt themselves when convenient, that trade rules were enforced asymmetrically. And we knew that international law applied with varying rigor depending on the identity of the accused or the victim. This fiction was useful, and American hegemony in particular helped provide public goods, open sea lanes, a stable financial system, collective security, and support for frameworks for resolving disputes. So we placed the sign in the window. We participated in the rituals, and we largely avoided calling out the gaps between rhetoric and reality. This bargain no longer works. Let me be direct. We are in the midst of a rupture, not a transition. Over the past 2 decades, a series of crises in finance, health, energy, and geopolitics have laid bare the risks of extreme global integration. But more recently, great powers have begun using economic integration as weapons. Tariffs as leverage, financial infrastructure as coercion, supply chains as vulnerabilities to be exploited. You cannot live within the lie of mutual benefit through integration when integration becomes the source of your subordination. The multilateral institutions on which the middle powers have relied, the WTO, the UN, the COP, the architecture, the very architecture of collective problem solving are under threat. And as a result, many countries are drawing the same conclusions, that they must develop greater strategic autonomy in energy, food, critical minerals, in finance and supply chains. And this impulse is understandable. A country that can't feed itself, fuel itself, or defend itself has few options. When the rules no longer protect you, you must protect yourself. But let's be clear-eyed about where this leads. A world of fortresses will be poorer, more fragile, and less sustainable. And there's another truth. If great powers abandon even the pretense of rules and values for the unhindered pursuit of their power and interests, the gains from transactionalism will become harder to replicate. Hegemons cannot continually monetize their relationships. Allies will diversify to hedge against uncertainty. They'll buy insurance, increase options in order to rebuild sovereignty. Sovereignty that was once grounded in rules, but will increasingly be anchored in the ability to withstand pressure. This room knows this is classic risk management. Risk management comes at a price. But that cost of strategic autonomy, of sovereignty, can also be shared. Collective investments in resilience are cheaper than everyone building their own fortresses. Shared standards reduce fragmentations. Complementarities are positive sum. And the question for middle powers like Canada is not whether to adapt to the new reality. We must. The question is whether we adapt by simply building higher walls or whether we can do something more ambitious. Now, Canada was amongst the first to hear the wake-up call, leading us to fundamentally shift our strategic posture. Canadians know that our old comfortable assumptions that our geography and alliance memberships automatically conferred prosperity and security, that assumption is no longer valid. And our new approach rests on what Alexander Stubb, the president of Finland, has termed value-based realism. Or to put another way, we aim to be both principled and pragmatic. Principled in our commitment to fundamental values, sovereignty, territorial integrity, the prohibition of the use of force except when consistent with the UN Charter, and respect for human rights. And pragmatic in recognizing that progress is often incremental, that interests diverge, that not every partner will share all of our values. So we're engaging broadly, strategically, with open eyes. We actively take on the world as it is, not wait around for a world we wish to be. We are calibrating our relationships so their depth reflects our values. And we're prioritizing broad engagement to maximize our influence, given the fluidity of the world at the moment, the risks that this poses, and the stakes for what comes next. And we are no longer just relying on the strength of our values, but also the value of our strength. We are building that strength at home. Since my government took office, we have cut taxes on incomes, on capital gains, and business investment. We have removed all federal barriers to interprovincial trade. We are fast-tracking $8 trillion of investments in energy, AI, critical minerals, new trade corridors, and beyond. We're doubling our defense spending by the end of this decade, and we're doing so in ways that build our domestic industries. And we are rapidly diversifying abroad. We've agreed a comprehensive strategic partnership with the EU, including joining SAFE, the European Defence Procurement Arrangements. We have signed 12 other trade and security deals on 4 continents in 6 months. The past few days, we've concluded new strategic partnerships with China and Qatar. We're negotiating free trade pacts with India, ASEAN, Thailand, Philippines, and Mercosur. We're doing something else. To help solve global problems, we're pursuing variable geometry. In other words, different coalitions. So in Ukraine, we're a core member of the Coalition of the Willing and one of the largest per capita contributors to its defense and security. On Arctic sovereignty.
Man, that's a fucking lot.
You're more than welcome to listen to the full speech. You got a standing ovation. There's only been 3 people that ever got a standing ovation at the WIF. Nelson Mandela, Zelensky, and Carney. It is a lot. It is a lot. And what it is, it's like what it, in layman's terms, is saying is like that old world is over. It's done. It's done. It's like now we're in a situation where diversifying trade and supply chains are going to be more global, which not just him saying it, other big players are involved in this as well. And in saying that as well, American big players too, not the current administration. No, they're not. That's obvious with all their tariffs and stuff. But when you listen to like Larry Fink talk and Jamie Dimon, these are big players that run pretty much America, right? Like
Yep.
they have
Monopoly men. They're the monopoly men.
Yeah, they don't have to take really the political hits because they're not political people, but they have control of the power of the markets.
Well, that's the thing. Let the people think that they have a choice. Meanwhile, they don't, right? Everything's being run at the top by like 3 companies here in North America. Why wouldn't it be the same in the government sector, right? Or the tech sector or whatever this is, this new technocracy is, maybe that's what it's going to be. Maybe we're just going to lose democracy and like it'll become like its own political thing, like run by AI. I don't know how you get a utopia out of it, but
well, I think a utopia would be politicians are quiet. There's less.
a utopia would be we don't have politicians and everybody just
yeah.
abides by the same moral code.
Yeah, that would be the utopia. Yeah, you're not wrong, but unfortunately, I don't think that ever will be in our lifetime ever witnessing
Because
that.
a utopia should never have a class system, right? There should never be a leader class in a utopia.
But when you get, I think with the best you can get here is just like, I don't know. I don't know. Like currently, right now, United States and Canada has the largest land border in the world and the most free trade back and forth. The largest free trade. Not free. We're already being hit on 35% tariff on our trade going to the States prior, and that was with USMCA. That was the trade agreement, prior to that. But now there's even higher, and it's gotten to a point where we're so integrated. Like you're in Windsor. Car parts are being built in Canada, being shipped to the United States for a little bit of alterations, and then being shipped back to Canada to finish it. And then the car is being shipped back, like, and it's going back.
It makes no sense. And that's the same with everything, the oil processing to the timber. It's the same. It's a stupid fucking game that doesn't even need to be there. It's just like buy raw, sell raw. Like,
so
Yeah,
like
I know.
it is a pretty sticky time to diversifying the trade, supply chain units, maybe making a more of a connected business agreements between countries, as in trade agreements, through a diplomatic way, like that. That's one path, or the other path is expansionism, right? Expansion.
And that's unfortunately, goes against what people think, right?
Yeah.
If you can't do it diplomatically, you're going to get it kinetically, and that's where we're at with Greenland.
Yeah.
Definitely a part of Greenland, despite what people want to think. It's not just a proximity place. It's everything. It's a buffer. It's a mineral grab. It's a land fucking transfer. It's everything. It's such a huge amount of money to be made. You're right. And this is what expansionism looks like in the 21st century. Hopefully it doesn't get kinetic, but we'll see where it goes, right? Like,
we'll see, and until then, we just kind of keep on broadcasting and keep on communicating and having these conversations. We don't need to talk about this. I don't want to go down politics as often, because it's just me personally. Like we said, right? Like it's a show. It's a clown show. It's not real. It's you don't know. 1 minute they're gonna go this direction, you know, like, and then next minute they're going to pull the rug on that and then go a different direction. So there's a lot of distractions. We have been fed with a whole bunch of stuff over the last few decades, really since when politics have became so polarizing, really, with like just leadership, you know, and transitions and stuff like that. We are in a transition. We are in that breaking point of the new norm coming in. Now, what is that new norm? That's where all of us that are still stuck in that old norm, we're all a little bit like, what the hell is happening, right? But what's coming in is coming in. AI, robotics, different way of like raising young minds. You know, like how are they being produced into the new world society, right? Like they're going to have a lot of autonomy, like with computers and robotics and things like that. So there has to be some sort of evolve in all the systems, like the education systems, how hospitals are run, how governance is run, how police forces ran, how is firefighting ran. You know, like it's all changing. It's all changing. So it's like wait and see, I guess, you know, and see where it goes. But like we have been witnessing a pretty violent collapse, I'd say. I it's hard to even go down, to think to go down. I was just down in the States in Florida and didn't have one problem, not one problem down there. You're on mute. Yeah.
Oh, look at that. I was on mute.
Yeah, I didn't have any issues when I was down in Florida. Like, met so many people, so many Americans. Lovely, lovely, man. Like we're all the fucking very much. We're all the same. We're all just like, what the hell is happening, right? You know, for the most part.
Nobody wants to die for rich man's games. That's it.
No, and
That's
we're
what it
seeing
comes down to.
it. We're seeing through all the shit, right? Like it's
We
like
just have to avoid the tribalism amongst ourselves and know who the real enemy is. And the enemy's always at the top. It's always going to be the elite versus us, not us. Like, stop turning against each other. We know where it's all coming from.
yeah.
Like, wake up. Wake up,
Yeah.
people.
And this is good right here, you know, like having this to like that messaging out there is just like we're all fucking here, man. We're all here and we're all trying, and it's across the world, you know, like we had conversations just with people in Europe and Britain. You know, haven't met too many people on the Asia side or India side or Russian side. I haven't met, like, you know, but I'm sure we're all kind of like going, like the internet connects us all to have these kind of like, you know, what's going on, what's happening. It's not like the old expansion days where there was just a radio station just beaking off. You know, like nowadays, it's not that radio station; it's Twitter. You know, it's a Twitter. So it does still work. You know, you can see the tactics. They do still have effect on humanity, but for the most part, I think majority of people are just like there's a lot of sensible people that are just like, no, like what's going on here? Okay. I can't see everybody grabbing a musket and going, let's go. Let's put a flag on that. You know?
I don't know.
I can't.
The Michigan militia is not far from where I'm at, and they're scary. So I could see it. Those types of factions around the world, around the United States, I could definitely see that being a concern.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh yeah.
yeah. Just because you don't see it in the streets doesn't mean it doesn't exist. That's the thing, right? There's always going to be extremes on both sides that just want to burn it all down, and those are going to be the people who to be afraid of. That's how we get the doomsday cults. right?
Mm-hmm.
That's how we get, like what Usha went through. These people
Mm-hmm.
exist, they rise up, and these are the things that we have to really be cognizant of as these things are falling apart. Because at the end of the day, I don't think the government's going to get kinetic with us. I think they will push us to a point where it gets to be like what Minneapolis looks like nationwide. That's what our biggest fear should be.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
Being
you're
against each other.
being against each other. Yeah, Troy, that is such a freaking. I agree with that statement there, man. Yeah, because we've seen it. We've seen it. We've seen it in grocery stores during the pandemic. People going against each other all over toilet paper,
Yep.
and it's hard. It's hard to witness that. From my experience, coming out of the force and trying to integrate into this society at the moment has been extremely difficult because we've just worked like a machine in the force. We all showed up at the whatever the mechanics or stores or whatever, and you can tell what a military person is. We have a decorum behind it. Like we kind of walk the same, we talk the same, move the same. It is what and nowadays it's like when I witnessed the pandemic, I was just like, what are you guys all panicking about right now? Toilet paper? Because you've seen a TikTok and you got gone crazy over toilet paper. Like,
Yep.
and that's how fast the influence spreads and the fear behind it. So
And
yeah,
that's
you're
why
right.
that's why we gotta stop and make sure that we don't. We question the misinformation, right?
Mhm.
And even when we're talking about fucking aliens and shit on here, it's just like we're questioning the misinformation, right? Like, why are they talking about it, right? Like, we're questioning everything because if you think you know everything, you know nothing at all, right? And
100%.
that's just where it is. And we just have to be that voice. And
Yeah,
I
that's
think
why I kind of enjoy this. Like I enjoy this, right? Because it's like the whole policy behind it is open door. Like we can
talk about
like
everything.
and it just keeps that mind from not just going down one clear or one path. Whatever that path is being manipulated or something. It's like one thing after another after another. It's like I don't know.
Every walk of life we've talked to on this show has said the same thing. They've had the same experiences and completely different people from different parts of the country and the world. So no, we're not wrong. And we're not
No,
keeping ourselves in an echo chamber. It's just we're noticing the patterns and everyone else is too. It's just so we know it's not the general person, the general public, right? Like there's the
no,
trolls out there for sure who are going to push buttons, but those are just idiots to be idiots. We know that. But
yes,
there's not many people who are just really mean any of the shit that they say on the internet. So
no.
it's definitely interesting times. Definitely interesting times, and we'll kind of see how that develops in the next little bit, right? It's a lot of things that are happening quick. They seem to be happening quicker and quicker. For the people who look into the Bible stuff again, and they say a quickening happens at the end. Things will get faster and faster, right? So, are we there? I don't know. Maybe they weren't talking about the end of the world, but maybe they're talking about the end of an age. Who knows, right? But
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's a good place to maybe leave it at. And next week we'll have some more conversations. Oh yeah, speaking of which, I did
What do
get
we got
Shane
going on?
back. Shane's going to be coming on Wednesday again.
Who's coming on?
Confirmed. So this is your last chance. You bail out, you're done. But
Who's
this
coming
is
on? Shane? Shane Enholm.
Shane. Yeah, Shane's going to be coming on for a little bit.
Oh, the legend Shane Enholm. All right. Perfect.
Yeah,
Glad.
let us know what's going on, and
Awesome.
I'm sure he'll have some interesting California discussions about his way of the world. I'm sure.
Well,
So
there we go. There we go. Being interesting. That's on Wednesday at what time?
that'll be Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Shane and home. Anybody interested in listening to that one? This was a pass that we tried to have it, but things happen in life and whatever. He was on briefly with the phone call. He was stuck in traffic, but so we're this is going to be a really good one, and we'll get some points of view on Shane, and and really kind of like discuss too, right, the tattooing world, and then a little bit of whatnot.
We'll just talk about whatever flows. We'll just talk about whatever flows, whatever comes up at the time. That's just the way it should be on this show. No script, just fucking smoke a joint and give her.
Sounds gravy.
So, all right, everybody. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week. Cheers.